Vanessa, I'll never forget her. Waiting, anticipating. Come on, make up your mind.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a random live stream Monday. Now, when I started tonight's live stream, of course, I realised that I don't have any graphics for a live stream Monday. I've only made graphics for a live stream Tuesday and a live stream Saturday, so I had to figure out how to get into the first video without going to anything before that. We just about managed to work it out. So, as for what's going to be happening on tonight's live stream, I do not know, because it feels a bit weird to be trying to set things up on a Monday. And I usually say on the live streams on the Tuesday that I hope you guys had a good Monday, if that's at all possible. But we are still in Monday, so it'll take a little bit of getting used to. But hello to you guys in the live chat room tonight. I don't know how many people will turn up, considering it's a Monday. It's more than acceptable to just probably want to sleep and just get over the fact that it's been Monday. But I can see you guys in there. Sujo, Angela, Billy, the Thorus, does that say? Tammy, Howard, Momo, Paul, Laura, Debbie, PM112, Kevin, Sue, Love Out Loud Can, Jennifer, Billy, Christian. Hello, and thank you for joining me, you guys, on a Monday night. It is much appreciated that you are here, and I can see that there's already been a donation from Paul in the super chat window, so thank you for that. But you don't have to donate. Just watching is great. And the reason for tonight's live stream is because tomorrow night I am busy. It's going to be my dad's birthday. So rather than having to end or leave the meal early, because generally I start getting the live streams ready about 8:30. So it means that I'd have to excuse myself while I go off and get things ready for the live stream. I thought, well, it would be nice just to relax and have the meal for my dad's birthday, so we're going to be doing that tomorrow, hence why I'm live streaming tonight, just moving it a night earlier. And we're going to get everything up on screen that we normally do on a Tuesday and a Saturday. So this is only happening because of the support of my patrons, so thank you guys. You know who you are, and their names go across at the bottom of the screen throughout all of the live streams, including the random ones such as tonight. So also the likes goal. Because we've never done a live stream Monday, I didn't know what to put as the likes goal. So if you can maybe throw out some random numbers into the live chat room, and I'll pick one, and then if we do hit that particular number, then we'll have Phil Jam number 230 at the end of the live stream. So I'm just having a look here. Oh, Angela and Corey both said 300. Oh, I've seen some 300, so that seems to be quite a popular number. 300, 100, 230 to match the Phil Jam. And I think I've seen more 300s than anything, and Heather says 300 as well. So I think we're going to set it at 300, and then we can check in on where we are. So that's now 300 to then hit Phil Jam number 230. Right, now I've got to do the screen capture in order to show the likeometer. Where is it? There it is. So we are at 194 already. So that means that we're over halfway. We're looking for 106, and it's easy to work out. So there's the maths done right at the beginning of the Monday night live stream, which is excellent. Now, in terms of How long we will be live streaming for, I'm not sure. Because this isn't really an official live stream evening, it means that the moderators are doing overtime. And yeah, it might be the case that we end a little bit earlier just because it's a Monday night and people have got things to do tomorrow night, especially if they hadn't planned on doing a random live stream bit of moderating. So we'll see. But also, let's get up on screen as well that you don't have to donate. Just watching is great. But for those people that can't resist, I think it's important that they know between 45 and 60% goes to YouTube through the super chat window, and between 3 and 5% goes to PayPal through the PayPal link, which you can find in the description below. So there you go. That's all that stuff done, out the way. And yeah, we'll keep an eye on that likeometer. Still going up a little bit. See if we can get a spike of the lights going on. I think we just had one there. But Paul, thank you for this donation of $5, and the message is happy Monday, not Tuesday. Happy birthday to Phil's father tomorrow. Let's have a good time in here and spike the likes. All y'all rock. So thank you for that, Paul. And Valhalla has donated £20 as well, so thank you for that. And that is a straight up donation. I mean, I'm assuming that it says that is 2 L's. It's a bit small on my screen to see, but it could be Halia. But we'll go for a Valhalla because, yeah, that's what everybody knows, and certainly not Valhalla. But anyway, yeah. Thank you for those donations in the super chat window. Over on PayPal, we had a donation in there, and I just want to make sure that, yeah. Okay, right, yeah. I was just getting to the end of the last live stream because it's now a Monday and getting used to the end of the donations on Saturday, just making sure that I'm in the right place. But I am, because Cindy has donated £20, so thank you for that. And the message is, I can't believe that Outkast made it into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ahead of Billy Idol. What's up with that? By the way, happy birthday to your dad tomorrow. So thank you for that. I don't really know what's up with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and yeah, it's something I've never really understood for many, many years. And here is another example that, yeah, I don't really understand, but it is what it is, as they say. So thank you for that, Cindy. I mean, it is a shame that Billy Idol hasn't made it in. I saw Steve Stevens kind of posting about it on Instagram, but there we go. Maybe in the future we'll see, but seemingly Outkast has made it in. Right, thank you for that. And Sue's donated £20 as well, so thank you for that, Sue. And the message is, happy Monday, Phil. Please tell your dad that 482,000 of us wish him a very happy birthday. So thank you for that. Yeah, there would be a lot of cards to get through, but yeah, I will let him know. And Amy's donated £5 as well, so thank you for that. And the message is, did you get the new Oblivion remaster video game? You did a face-melting cover of the original game's theme song. So thank you for that. And no, I haven't even seen that the remaster's been released, but it kind of depends, because if you're playing it on PC or whether it's been remastered for, I don't know, what would that be, the PS5 maybe? I don't know, I'll have to look into it. But I think on PC you can obviously make it look as good as possible. I mean, it's a really old game now, so yeah, I'll have to look into that and see what the Oblivion remaster is like. But yeah, if I started playing that game, then you probably wouldn't see me again, because I can remember when I don't know how old I was. I was probably about 19, because I was doing personal training at the time. But I used to play the game. I think on a Wednesday was my day off, so it meant that I could just, obviously, play guitar and do my music stuff, but I would also play a bit of Oblivion on a Wednesday. So that was always something that I enjoyed, and I spent a very long time playing that particular game. But thank you for that, Amy. Right, we're up to date in the PayPal window and in the Super Chat window as well. Right, there was something else. I can see that the Thores has donated $10 as well. So thank you for that in the messages. Please, Phil, please tell me how singers outside of the US sing without an accent. My name is pronounced Thor-S, the female version of Thor. My father came up with that name for me when I was a child. So thank you for that. And I'm just trying to figure out if this is the same question that I've had before. Tell me how singers outside of the USA sing without an accent. The question that I've had before is, why do singers sing with the same accent? So not without an accent that you can distinguish. They all say singers start sounding the same, and whether it be an American accent, maybe it's heard as that, but yeah, I don't know. I tend to think that if there's one particular sound that everyone starts to sound like, then that is like having a particular accent. So that's how I see it. But I mean, it all comes from just what singing is and how you sing and how you modify vowels. And I have answered the question before that the higher you go up in your range, the more everyone starts to sound the same, because everyone is accessing those notes. We've all got human vocal cords that all work in the same way. So this is why when you are learning to sing, and if you are having vocal lessons or you've done different courses, for example, there'll be particular vowels that you change the sound of as you ascend in your range. So it means that you're not saying the vowel as you would normally when you're talking. Like an E, for example, as you go higher, it might change to E, like an I sound, an I rather than an E. But when you're singing it, it still sounds like an E, because that, especially if you're saying the word as clearly as you can, people hear that as an E when in fact you do a vowel modification. But that's the kind of thing that will register as an accent or something that sounds now American, for example. So yeah, and I think if you go back and listen to lots of well-known singers in their lower range, you'll be able to hear their accent more clearly, because unless they're putting on an accent and that was their thing. But if they're singing just where they're from, then I'm trying to think of an example. So say, for example, the Beatles, when they're singing low in their range, or they were, compare that to what about Long Tall Sally, where it's kind of really high, or She's in Love with Me, but I Feel Fine. If you're thinking about those notes up at the top, but then listening to them a lot lower, maybe Yesterday as well, which starts quite low down, you can make out more of an accent. But yeah, certainly with Long Tall Sally, if you think about all those high notes, they don't sound Liverpudlian because of the way that it's being sung in order to get up that high. So yeah, Sir Paul McCartney did the same thing with his voice, as everyone really does the same with their voices. As they ascend really high up, then yeah, you'll hear that accent kind of start to migrate towards another sound. But it all comes from vocal training, and of course classically trained singers, they all do the same thing. So this is why when you're listening to a classically trained singer, they don't all sound like they've got their own accents. And it, it goes for starting in Italy, having bel canto and the style of singing and being classically trained, and all these, I'm just going to skip this advert, but all these different elements that come together to make up the voice to allow you to sing higher and sing with power and extend your chest voice, and take that high up in your range without handing it off to head voice. All of the things that need to change in order for that to happen are vowels and modifying them. But the modifications is what you'll have to apply to when you're singing. So yeah, those are the things that make, then if everyone is singing vowels the same way, It means everyone will sound like they have the same accent. But like I said, there are some people who were maybe English, for example, and then put on an American accent. But yeah, more often than not, if they weren't putting on an American accent, when they sing lower in their range, you'll hear it more clearly. And some people say that, I sound like I've got an American accent when I sing, and I think generally it's going to be higher up because that's just what happens. But I know that I can't do accents. So if somebody said to me, try and speak in an American accent, I wouldn't be able to. I can't do that. So but I've learned to sing. So I've learned to modify vowels and sing in a particular way that isn't me trying to put on an American accent. It's just me having learned to sing. And I guess a lot of the stuff that I watched was probably American anyway, with vocal coaches and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know whether you pick up an accent, but I think it's more to do with the vowel modifications. But anyway, hopefully that has answered the question. I don't know if that was the question, but that's what I'm going with for the answer. So thank you for that. Right, over on PayPal, we've had another donation, I believe. And it's Lisa W who has donated £5. Thank you for that. And the message is, hi Phil, share a sleeve with your dad for his birthday. Enjoy a relaxing and enjoyable evening with your family. So thank you for that. And yes, I will try. And the Thor S has donated $10 again. Thank you for that. And the message is, Phil, thank you for the great explanation. Now I understand. Happy birthday to your father tomorrow. So thank you for the birthday wishes. I will pass them on. So right, we are 28 people away, or 28 likes away. The people have to click the thumbs up in order to get us to the Phil Jam likes total for tonight of 300. So we are getting very close. Right, what did we have? Yesterday was the drama video that I said to look out for, and I'll address that quickly because obviously people have commented on that video, and a few people have watched it, which is good. And yeah, a lot of people have watched my original video and I guess are the same as me and can't figure out how anyone can interpret that as me supporting the person who was stealing other guitarists' guitar lines. But there have been a few comments where I think it's more of a personality thing, where they want me to be angry or maybe to be more animated with how angry I am at something that's going on or that's happened. But I think maybe this is from people who don't watch my channel and don't know how I conduct myself in my videos, and that I'm not really one of these YouTube creators that goes for all the shock and the horror and having really over the top reactions about things. That's not what I do. So I'm not suddenly going to start doing that. And I think maybe people expect that. Yeah, I don't know, but everyone's got a different personality. So yeah, I can say in my video that I don't support stealing from other guitarists, and I don't know how it's been misconstrued and understood to be the opposite of what I was saying. But yeah, I think just some people have said, oh, it's not that you didn't, what do they say, it's not that you didn't support the guitarist, but I wanted to hear you it's almost like criticize the guitarist more. But yeah, again, it's a personality thing. I think that if I'm not going to start being false, I'm not going to start pretending to be really animated and angry about something that's happened, because I've never had that reaction. And we've had some, like that, we've had some really ridiculous cases of things that have happened. But yeah, I'm not jumping up and down on my chair and doing all that kind of stuff. I just point it out and, tell people to let me know, how they feel about it in the comments section. But I'm a huge believer in presenting data, and as soon as you become too I don't know, subjective with what you're doing. Of course, with the videos that I do, I can't afford really to be subjective because I'm looking at objective data, and it is really important that the data that I'm presenting isn't put across in a particular way. I've just shown it on screen so that everyone can see it. So yeah, I think most people who've seen the first video understand that. Yeah, unfortunately, like a lot of people have said, that my video was then taken out of context, where, you know, and another person, again, I even did an example in that video saying that, for example, I could say, as, you know, somebody who doesn't care about, you know, royalties and all that kind of stuff, I can say yes, and this would be me saying it sarcastically, saying yes, you can take all my music, take my royalties, and sell all of my merchandise, take my logo. That's absolutely fine. I don't care. You know, knock yourself out. Go for and just use whatever I've created for yourself to make money. That's me being sarcastic. And somebody, believe it or not, quoted that in the comment section and said, this, you still don't get it, and then quoted me, but they're not getting that I'm being sarcastic. I would never say, yes, take all of my work and use it and take my royalties and basically rip me off. It's absolutely fine, you know, I don't mind. So yeah, people just don't get the sarcasm of it, unfortunately. And I guess if they watch my channel, they'd know that I say this kind of thing because it's so ridiculous that you would do loads of work independently yourself and then just give that all to somebody who's done nothing. And I'm not talking about a record label. I'm talking about like a YouTuber or something. So yeah, it's a shame that still one person still didn't get it. But anyway, yeah, that's it. It's my personality, and I'm not gonna act out of character. And I know that there are other channels and they do that, where they're a different person in real life, but then on YouTube they act different ways and are outraged about things, and you know, have different thumbnails. This just reminded me, one person said, why have you put Rick Beato in your thumbnail? Because you mention about, you know, having aggravation or beef with someone in the video, or something escalating, and you've got Rick Beato in your thumbnail, so it's clickbait. And Rick isn't in my thumbnail, so I don't know what's going on, because I said to the person that, no, I don't know what you're looking at, but he's not in the thumbnail. And somebody said, oh, why is Rick in your video for 5 minutes? When I'm looking at the video that Danny has made, where in his video he mentions me and takes that quote that was taken from one of my videos out of context, and then it goes then to Rick, and Danny's obviously then talking about Rick, but I paused the video because I'm just highlighting the bit that was about me, so then I talk about that. So the fact that it's paused on Rick, I'm not talking about Rick. It's nothing to do with my video. It just so happens to be where I paused the video to then talk. So yeah, people saying, oh, why is Rick in the video? It's not my video. I'm looking at Danny's video that I've paused. So yeah, lots of strange stuff that happens on YouTube. But you know, again, it is what it is. Anyway, Elaine has donated $10 as well, so thank you for that, Elaine. And the message is, would you say schedule oregano to store in aluminium foil, since we're talking accents? So there you go. I said that. Right. So let's get back on track, because I can see that we've now hit the Phil Jam target for tonight of 300 likes. I've just remembered something from the last live stream. Somebody said at the end that they or their friend were learning to play the guitar, and they wanted to know how to do tapping like Van Halen used to do. So I started demonstrating it on my guitar, but The microphone wasn't turned on because we'd done the jam, then I turned it off because sometimes it echoes, but then I got the guitar out and demonstrated, and nobody could hear it, or maybe you could hear it but really lightly. So I did say that I would try and explain that in a future live stream, so I might just do it now, grab the guitar and demonstrate what tapping is. So there you go. That's what I've decided to do on this Monday live stream. Because it's random, I'm going to be grabbing the guitar and we're going to be going through a little bit of tapping. So maybe if whoever asked this question on Saturday, I don't know who it was, but maybe if they see this, great. Hopefully they will, so that it makes a little bit more sense. Right, so first of all, we are on. So what you want to be doing is I'll play a note like this, and the first thing you want to be able to do, you can use little finger or third finger. I tend to use third finger to free up my little finger for other stuff if I need it, because I've got kind of smaller hands and it kind of works out better that way. And I mean, you can pretty much do this on any string. I'd say to start with, maybe the G string as well here. And that's what you want to try and do. So, and also what we want to try and do is skip an advert. So what we're doing, I'm picking, and if you want the note, this is a D. You know, so below. But I'm on the G string here, so 7th fret, and you want to try and get that kind of sound. A big part of this, as you'll know with Eddie Van Halen, is having the right tone and having distortion on there, because it'll make it clearer. But if you want to try and play it clean and go like that, then if you can get a hammer-on and pull-off sound that is the same volume as your first finger, so here picking and that hammer-on, if you can get that the same volume rather than going okay, I'm trying to do it so that it doesn't register as loudly. There you go. It's like a lifetime of technique that you're now trying to override to not do it properly, but you want to try and get it the same volume rather than like that kind of thing where you can't really hear the note as clearly. So anyway, the point that I'm saying, or the reason that I'm saying all of this, is pretty much with anything on guitar, if you can get it to sound good on a clean tone, then it will sound better with distortion. So if you can, you know, for example, you might have to put in quite a lot of effort to do that. And by the way, I'm kind of pushing into the guitar and then pulling down and off the string. And you might find that if you're accidentally fretting the next string below, you might go like that and you'll hit that string next to it. So you just want to arch your finger over a little bit so that when you hit that other string, it's just a little bit muted. So then you can pull off into that other string and it's not going to make a sound. So that is that. So anyway, right, let's get into this. So now, because we know it's going to sound relatively okay on the clean tone, when I now go, you can see how now it's all really nice and even because I'm not getting any dropout from the sound. So anyway, so that's what you're doing with your left hand, and with your right hand, some people use the first finger, and I'm trying to think now what I do. I think I use my second finger. So I'm now just trying to think, you know, all of this subconscious muscle memory that comes in. So if I'm going, so I'm doing that kind of thing. So you're doing that sequence and you're just gradually speeding it up. And if you want to, move down, you can start to move the left hand in order to kind of do different melodies, and you'll know that from Eruption as well, moving the left hand and tapping. But you probably don't want to worry too much about moving and doing it when you're kind of learning to begin with. Yeah, so anyway, so you start getting carried away straight away. So there. So you can move the right hand as well, tap in different notes. And yeah, I'm using second finger. Sometimes you'll see players hold their pick like that. I'm trying to think what Van Halen actually did. He might have been using his first finger, and again, same technique, but now using first finger. I use second finger and third finger, and again, if you're tapping, you start to do that, which is now tapping with two fingers, but that's a little bit more, I say a little bit more advanced, that's a lot more advanced doing that, but start off with second finger or first finger. I tend to prefer second finger because then I can still kind of pick. So everything that I'm playing. Yeah. So I can kind of get straight into it if I want to. I mean, I don't do a lot of Van Halen-esque tapping. I tend to do more of a Reb Beach kind of thing. So that kind of thing. So yeah, obviously it's kind of how far you want to take the tapping. But to start with, basics, you just want to get your ham rolls and pull-offs. And you get to the point where you don't even need to pick. Yeah, you can just hammer and pull off. And again, be careful of the arching over. If I now fret that B string, you get that kind of sound. So you want to arch over. And yeah, just kind of do like that. Yeah, this is it. So going back, and this sometimes happens when you're so used to doing it a particular way, trying to demonstrate it and going back to now using conscious muscle memory, the left hand just wants to do it subconsciously and say, well, no, I'm going to try and explain it now consciously, and because you're accessing it, it kind of gets a little bit confused. As, you realise, oh, yeah, like I was thinking, do I use my second finger or my first finger? Then I use my second finger, but then I use my third finger. Yeah, so trying to explain it is a little bit difficult sometimes. But anyway, so, right, that was that. And, I'm going to turn off that. So, Angela says, can you tap with ghost notes? I mean, not really. Well, a ghost note, if I was trying to I just have to wait for the mic to warm up there. So oh yeah, here's I said you can use your little finger if you want to as well, and that's, you might want to practice with doing that. And say you just want to practice on your second finger, third finger, little finger. And you might want to kind of, not that that's going to do anything melodically or musically, it's just technique. So that all of your fingers sound the same. You get the same volume from each of your fingers when you're doing hammer-ons and pull-offs. That's basically what it is. Hammer-on, pull-off. Like that. Right, what was the question? Can you do ghost notes? I mean, generally, when you're doing a hammer-on and a pull-off, the whole point of it is to make it clear, so that people can hear what you've done, even though you're not picking. You can still hear those two notes. But, like a ghost note is going... Like that. Yeah, if I'm... So you don't really hear, there's a lot of going... I mean, yeah, even doing those, you can still kind of hear that they're in there, even though I'm muting them. There's still kind of melody and notes to that. But yeah, I guess you could say that there are kind of ghost notes in there, but not when you're tapping. You're not going to be applying palm muting, because palm muting happens down here at the bridge, so it means that you get that kind of sound. Like that, so that alternate picking sound that you get, and if I'm going... I'm trying to think of a way that I can kind of explain how you're getting this sound of a muted string. You're resting between the bridge and the string, so a little bit of the flesh of your hand is down here. Rather than go... yeah, it's just reminding me of... that kind of thing. Eye of the tiger, but it is that alternate picking, muted picking that you get. So, anyway, so, Melody Rock says, what is sweep picking? Right, sweep picking is not something that I do a lot of, but it's when you're going between strings like that. And that kind of thing. So what's happening there? You're playing notes of a chord, arpeggios. So that's why it's yeah, sweep picking arpeggios. You're playing through notes of a chord, and again, it's not something that I kind of do myself or play in my solos, because it's kind of, it's muscle memory of, yeah. You're kind of just letting your muscle memory go, and it kind of just does its own thing. So yeah, it's too fast to have conscious thought in there, so I don't really use that too much. I can't think of those notes that quickly. So right, what was there was another question. I can't remember what it was, but it might have been string skipping. So I'm going. That kind of thing. I'm skipping over strings. So let me think if I'm. I'm trying to think of a way to kind of explain this, but I mean it's really simple. You skip over a string. So I was trying to think of a run that kind of explains it. I mean, that could work. So I'm skipping over the B string there. So string skipping over the B. So there you go. Not that that's an official thing. I'm just showing of jumping over those strings. So string skipping. Again, it's the kind of thing that I think with runs and scales and lines that you've worked out, like sweep picking. And I think to a certain extent, even string skipping, I don't really do much of that because my my brain, when I'm singing a melody, it doesn't suddenly go, you know, really up high, and then suddenly my brain throws in a really low note. I tend to sing a melody as I would do with my voice, and my voice doesn't suddenly, I mean, nobody's voice suddenly goes down 2 octaves, up 2 octaves, and then down an octave and up 2 octaves. It might go up an octave over a melody, but it doesn't suddenly go, you know, from one note to another really dramatically. And even in, you know, classical pieces with classical singers, when they are picking out notes very quickly, again, it's not something that's as dramatic as you do on the guitar. Obviously, there are particular pieces that are very well known for having very technical parts in there vocally, but when coming up with a melody, I don't think it's something that happens naturally for people to come up with a melody that way. It's something that is preconceived as an idea, to think, oh, that'll be impressive if we can do that. So anyway, that is that. And there's been another donation in the PayPal window, so thank you for this, Daniel. And the message is, hello, playing Guitar Hero was the hammer on and pull off, true to the real instrument. So thank you for that. And I don't know, I only played Guitar Hero once, and probably only for about 5 or 10 minutes, because when there's a riff, I mean, it just, I don't know how complicated it is now, but when I played, and I'm talking 20 years ago, something like that. So when I played it, say that there's a riff that went, all of this stuff on the right hand and the left hand, when you're playing guitar, you want to put in the timing of the notes. But on the screen, the dots that came down weren't, for example, the finger that you would be using. So then I'd press the finger that I would be using, but it would be wrong, because it should have been like the green button or the red button or something, or the yellow button, whatever it was. So I didn't take to that, even though I played it for 5 minutes. I thought, oh, well, they should have done it so that the playing was the same, at least on the fretboard. But then you think, well, how can you get, you know, the whole fretboard into kind of 4 buttons? I can't remember how many buttons there were, but it was something that didn't, I don't know, it's like counterintuitive when you play to now play the left hand not in the right way to play the riff. So yeah, it's all very confusing for me. So I didn't really get into Guitar Hero or play it. And I know that some people played Guitar Hero first and then started learning to play guitar because they were inspired to do it by playing Guitar Hero. But I think maybe doing it the other way out, I couldn't get my head around it. So yeah. Anyway, right. Oh, we have the vote for tonight's cover video. And that is... oh, it's close. 51% of the vote for Behind Blue Eyes. So we might jump into that. We are going to be having a fill jam, so maybe we'll jump into that now. How long is the fill jam going to be? 6 minutes and 58 seconds. So I'm thinking maybe if we're finishing about, 15 minutes early, it's a little bit more acceptable, because this is a random live stream. It's a little bit more acceptable for the moderators, because it is approaching midnight here in the UK, of course. And, right, that's the pick on the floor, but I've got time to pick it up before the fill jam. I've actually always got one. There's always one within arm's reach. So, just in case the worst happens. Right, let's jump into tonight's cover video. Looks like it's going to be Behind Blue Eyes. We will have a look, and 50%, so it's 50 point something. Behind Blue Eyes has got, and Johnny B. Good had 49 point something percent. So we are going to be jumping into this. Obviously, it's going to be my version, as I always say, the Who Classic. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you guys after. Rock!
No one knows what it's like to be the bad man. to be the sad man behind blue eyes. No one knows what it's like to be hated, to be fated, to telling only lies. But my dreams, they aren't as empty as my conscience seems to be. I have hours all lonely. My love is vengeance, it's never free. No one knows what it's like to feel these feelings like I do. And I blame you. No one bites back as hard on their anger. None of my pain or woe can show through. But my dreams, they aren't as empty as my conscience seems to be. I have hours lonely, lonely. My love is vengeance, it's never free. But my dreams, they aren't as empty as my conscience seems to be. And I spend hours lonely, lonely. My love is vengeance, it's never
And there we have it. That was my version of Behind Blue Eyes. I think in that video I interrupt it when the end solo starts happening. So that's why we just exited that one very quickly. There have been some other donations. So first of all, Maltesers donated $4.99 in the super chat window. So thank you for that. And the message is, hi Phil, you had pizzas for your sisters and your birthday. Will it be pizza for your father's birthday as well? So yes, it will be, most likely, only because something that we've learned is that Chinese places close on Tuesday, and it isn't just local Chinese places, it's Chinese places everywhere seemingly close on a Tuesday. So yeah, tomorrow is a Tuesday, so yeah, we are pretty much forced into having pizza. So but that's all good because my dad likes pizza, I like pizza, everybody in the family likes pizza, so that's what we will be having tomorrow. So thank you for that. And there's been another donation from Daniel for £3, so thank you for that. And the message is, hello Phil, in your view, what's the most difficult song to play? I don't know. The thing is, I would say pretty much anything by Eddie Van Halen. Getting the feel right, getting his phrasing right is really difficult. And that I've said before about people that do covers of Eruption, but they don't play it exactly the same way as Eddie Van Halen did. They put in their own little runs and things, which is basically just to hide the fact that they can't really do what Eddie Van Halen did, or they don't really know which notes he played there, so they just go into doing their own thing. So it's really difficult to try and get something exactly the same as Eddie Van Halen when, just because of, the way that he played, his style and the feel of how he played. But in terms of, difficult songs to play, I think when I was teaching acoustic guitar and fingerstyle, for example, there were different fingerstyle guitarists on YouTube who were technically very good. And in order to teach that kind of stuff, you just have to sit down and learn it and just go through subconscious muscle memory, just repeat it over and over again. Again, it's the kind of thing that you do when you're watching TV. So you're not really thinking about it. You're just going through the cycle with the right hand and with the left hand. So it's not really a case of it's difficult. It just takes time. And it's just building up subconscious muscle memory. So the stuff that maybe seems like it's really difficult is just people sitting down practicing for a very, very long time, the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And there are other things that are difficult to play because of the feel. And, I've said before, where if somebody plays 15 notes in a second, if somebody else played the same 15 notes in that second, it would sound the same, because it's got to be the same timing to fit in that same time bracket. But when somebody plays 2, 3, or even 1 note a second, then that note is not just kind of I've turned my mic off, but it's not just holding one note and doing nothing with it. They'll have a particular style of vibrato and feel that they play with. So one player playing one note can sound different to another player. But as soon as you start speeding things up, that's where now it will start to sound the same from one player to the next, because they're playing, because now the timing is limited, because you can't really put a lot of expression into 15 notes in a second, but you can in one note. So this is it. But like I've said before, there's nothing wrong with playing fast, and you want to be able to do it a little bit in order to keep your solos interesting, to give you a little bit of light and shade. So it's an important part of making interesting solos, but it is something that will make you sound like somebody else if you're just doing exactly the same runs with exactly the same scales over exactly the same backing. If you were to do that, which, as you guys will know with my recent videos, I don't endorse that at all. Right, so thank you for that, Daniel. And Angela's donated £14.28, so thank you for that. And the message is, thanks for a Monday live stream and guitar demonstrations. You took my grumpiness away, and happy birthday to Papa Henley. So thank you for that. Right, we're up to date there. Right, let's turn on microphone. Guitar is back. And right, this is Phil Jam number 230. Oh, and by the way, if you're watching this on catch up, you can still hit the thumbs up. Really does help the live stream to get out there and for the channel to grow on the whole. Right, let me click on that. And right, let's mute that. Okay, so this is Fighting Back rock guitar jam track in C minor. And this is Darren's Music Studio on YouTube. And right, let me click on that. You'll have to let me know what the levels are like. Changed again. So that was that. Okay, it just suddenly faded out to nothing. So that was Fighting Back, rock guitar, jam track in C minor from Darren's Music Studio. So yeah, thanks for sending that my way. And full disclosure, that was a little bit all over the place, and there were a few kind of changes there that I was trying to get my head around. Well, yeah, where's that going? Why have we gone there? But okay, we've gone there, and then why have we gone there? So yeah, it's just trying to figure it out as you go along. So that's it. Thank you for that, Joe, and thank you guys for hitting the thumbs up and ensuring that we had a Phil Jam for tonight. We are going to be calling things to a close, so I'm going to be live streaming on Saturday night, so look out for that, 11 PM Greenwich Mean Time. As always, I'll be here with a video on a Wednesday night and a Friday night, as always, as well. So yes, as I always say, try to stay as safe and as sane as possible in this crazy world in which we live, and have a great week. Not a great rest of the week, but a great week, because we're still pretty much at the beginning of it. And I will catch you guys at the next one. Rock!